people registered. People are popping in, and they keep popping in, so that's all great. So, but we're going to keep everyone on mute because of the size of the presentation. So we will be presenting first. We will be answering. You will have time to answer your questions. But if you have a question anytime throughout the presentation, please use the question box in the control panel for GoToMeeting. If you would just go ahead and type in your questions there. If it's really relevant to the topic, very interesting to the topic that we're on at that point in time, I'll try and fit it in right there. And then at the question and answers at the end, we will go ahead and ask your questions and try and get all your questions answered. So go ahead and do that. At the end, take a moment. We have a survey that will come over to you. We'd love to get your feedback on the presentation, so please take a few moments. We do a lot of education content for the channel and for vendors in our Crossing the SaaSM programs, and would love to get your feedback on things that you would like to see, how you might even like to participate, and what you thought of the quality of the material presented. So please feel free to give us some feedback on the survey. You'll have access to the event, so if you have to, for some reason, unforeseen reason, as always the life of a reseller, is you got things planned and you're always handling emergencies for your client, you may have to pop off. And we will have it available on our Why SaaS blog for you sometime next week, early next week. So we're going to be going really fast, a lot of material that we want to cover today, and so we're going to cover very fast, so hold on to your seat, and we're going to start learning here with some of our people. A little bit about Partner Perspective itself. We do hold them every month. The next date's November 20th, and I'll talk a little bit about that towards the end of this presentation. But November 20th, it's always the last Friday of every month, or the third Friday of every month. It's a great educational opportunity for you to learn from your peers and learn from hearing it from guys who are out there being successful in adopting, selling, managing, and profiting from SaaS applications, and some of the tips and tricks and pitfalls that they've overcome to be able to get to where they're at in their SaaS world. So it's real-world, actual knowledge that we're providing for software as a service, and I think everyone here is probably familiar with that term, but software as a service is, or SaaS, we refer to it as SaaS, so if you're hearing that, it does mean software as a service. SaaSMAX, basically, everything that we do, it's very concise. You know, we connect B2B cloud software companies, SaaS companies, with the right reseller partners and the right selling type partners for everyone to grow their businesses profitably and have a great relationship and a great partnership. And that's what we do here at SaaSMAX. If you're not a registered solution provider today, it's very simple. SaaSMAX is free to all of our community, the reseller community. We have about 25,000 members in our community today, so become one and utilize our marketplace. All you do is on our homepage, which is SaaSMAX.com, you go to the upper right, click on register, choose reseller, solution provider, and fill out the form, and then start using the system, finding yourself some good SaaS. We do have some event sponsors, some of our vendors. Today, the event is sponsored by and helped paid for by Crescendo. Crescendo is a wonderful VoIP system, hosted VoIP and telecommunications company. A lot of our partners are very, very happy with them, providing excellent margins in the marketplace that matches very well with your business model. So it's a really good product to take a look at, as well as Citrix GoToWebinar, GoToMeeting, as well as their other, really it's from the whole mobility part of Citrix, so their ShareFile and their acquisition of Grasshopper and the rest of the Citrix family product lines. So we want to thank our vendors for helping sponsor this event today and making things happen here at SaaSMAX and supporting our community. So into the introductions here, I got some great guys I've known, many of them I've known very long, for a very, very long time, 10 years or more, and I'm really happy to have them here. Myself, of course, I'm Clint Gatewood, and I've already introduced myself. I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. We're going to start out with a good friend of mine, Bob Nitrio from Ranvest. Bob, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much, Clint. I'm Bob Nitrio, obviously. I have been a business consultant with technology solutions for my clients for 25 years now. My vertical specialty is property management, with a smaller vertical specialty in small medical offices. And I come to this business from the business side of things. I have a degree in finance and a master's in business administration, and for those reasons, that's how I came into the business as a business consultant primarily. And it's been a very interesting ride for the last 25 years. And one of the things that we're seeing, and we'll talk about today, are the rapid changes that are occurring in the way that we're delivering services to our clients.
Thanks, Bob. It's great to be working with you again. Bob and I, like I said, we got a long relationship of business across multiple companies, so it's great to have Bob here. And he is on the consulting side. We like to have different solution providers and consultants on from different walks of life. And today we have Todd Jusus from Juiced Technologies. And Todd, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks, Clint. As Clint mentioned, Todd Jusus from Juiced Technologies. We're located in Ronkonkoma, New York, and we provide business technology software solutions for all size companies. We specialize in providing solutions with a SaaS platform from Intuit, the makers of QuickBooks and TurboTax, and their platform is called QuickBase, and we've worked with that for over 15 years now. So a little bit about my background, because I think it's relevant to our discussions today. I started building applications in COBOL way back in the 80s on mainframes. So moved to managed services, where I actually met Clinton. He didn't know about it, but I did meet him way back when we did managed services and desktop and service support, and supported a lot of local offices in my area, implemented SBS 2003 and VoIP solutions. But I always found myself leaning back towards software development. This web thing that started and took off, where applications became available on the internet, I said that was for me. So that's where we are today. We've evolved a whole bunch, but as I said, we specialize in building applications on QuickBase, and we also host our own set of integrations, and we'll get into that a little bit as well today. So not only a reseller, but a SaaS provider to a certain degree. So.
All right, thanks, Todd. So we're going to jump right in, so hold on to your seat here. We're going to start out with just some really quick, rapid-fire type questions here on how they're seeing some of the markets and a little bit more about their company as well. So I'd start off, Bob, with you, your type of clients, how many clients you have, and how many seats of SaaS you may be selling in the marketplace today.
Well, our work with our clients is a little bit varied, but I have basically about 100 seats that I work and manage with my clients. A lot of them have moved from on-prem Rent Manager to the hosted version of Rent Manager as their line of business app in property management. We also are working with AppRiver to deliver Office 365 to our clients as we've transitioned from Small Business Server in its various forms over to the replacement, which is Server 2012 Essentials. We also have other things that we are doing. I'm actually a partner with a software development company, and we have created a mobile app platform that allows us to deliver mobile apps to our clients. So actually the work that I'm doing now is very much concentrated with that particular partner, and our seat count on that is starting to really take off. So it is a little bit different than what other people are doing, because I have these different niches that I work with, but probably on all counts we have a couple of 100 seats of various SaaS products at this point.
Great, thank you. And Todd?
Sure, Clint. Well, I would say we definitely have a legacy with QuickBase over the past 15 years. So I'm going to have to say, we sold thousands of seats over that time, and we also have our own set of customers that run our own, run integrations that we've built for the QuickBase platform. And right now we're dealing with probably 500 to 600 customers that utilize different add-ons and functions and features that we provide that help extend that SaaS platform called QuickBase from Intuit.
Great, thank you. And so there's a lot of talk in the marketplace too on different channel programs and SaaS channel programs that are available today, and different ways of how they're sold and how these companies interact with the channel. And one of them is like with the payment method. So maybe you want to handle this one first, Todd. But the frequency of payment from your SaaS partners, how does that affect if you're selling them, how you're selling them, and affect your business?
Well, I'd say it's a very important aspect, and when we locked into the QuickBase platform, we kind of were at their mercy, right? So, we definitely were selling their product, and they were providing us, with a decent compensation model. But so we were happy with that. It did change and evolve, not necessarily for the better from our perspective. We were enjoying a decent commission payment from them on each of our customers' monthly subscriptions. However, that changed, and as Intuit decided, they wanted to pay out a one-time commission, and that was it. So, we're not complaining. I mean, that's a great thing. But I'd say, payment and frequency of payment is a very important consideration when, from a SaaS product partner.
Thanks. And Bob?
It's interesting because with Rent Manager, I only get a one-time upfront payment, which, quite honestly, is not nearly in keeping with the amount of work I do to bring new business to them. But my first consideration always is doing what is right for my client. So I can't really change their minds at this point as to what they should pay me, but I will go ahead and continue selling their product as long as it's the right thing to do for my clients. Would I like more from them? Absolutely. But as far as my other partners in the SaaS market are concerned, most of them work with me on monthly payouts. I actually sell Office 365 through AppRiver for two reasons. The first is that I get a better payout than I do from Microsoft, and the second is we get phenomenal support from them. So again, it's going to vary from one partner to another, but I got to tell you, for me, it's always doing the right thing for my clients first and foremost, and whatever I make, because there are other reasons for doing business with these people and their SaaS products on behalf of my partners and my clients. So it's important to get paid. We're all coin-operated businesses, but it's also most important to focus on the client's needs first.
Hey, Clint, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I went from not being on mute to being on mute, and I started talking. I apologize about that. Bob, when you look at getting your first sales done and really moving forward with the product, what are some of the best incentivization programs that you've seen from SaaS vendors to help you get your initial sales?
I think oftentimes the fact that we are going to have a really robust ongoing relationship with a product that we can stand behind and say this really works is the best incentive. It's not something that we really focus on as something that we have to look at and say, okay, if I don't get X, I'm not going to do Y. But to take this a little bit differently from our own partnership with the mobile app platform, we are incenting people there by giving them a really robust initial compensation upfront on the first sale to a client, and then we're giving them an additional 10 points of margin where they can either provide a discount on that initial sale to the client, or they can add it as additional margin, bringing their margin on the first sale up to 25%. So there's an example, a real-world example of how in our own business we are doing something that really helps incentivize our new partners to get going with that mobile app platform. If more people did that, I think that sales would obviously become more robust as a result.
Exactly, I feel the same way. And Todd, what's your thoughts on this question?
Well, okay, so my experience has been that where they've helped us with marketing, right? So, they've provided sales training, sales collateral, so that we have, we don't have to spend the time and effort, say, on figuring out, the best ways to position and market. They've even provided us landing pages within their own web environment, where we can be searched and tagged and, and found. And they've actually also allowed us to partake in a video case study highlighting what us and the customer and the solution we provided. They flew us out to Seattle. We were videoed, and it was really a great experience. They've also, the other thing what that's been great is they've allowed us to access to salespeople, their direct salespeople. So they got to know us a little bit, and what and how we can work together as a win-win, so that we can make sure that the customer lands and stays, and then is serviced properly, and then that actually brought on additional leads from them for services work from us. So we had a very good relationship with the salespeople, and like I said, they pushed services work to us as well. So that's been some of our experiences. But
great, excellent. And I'll stick with you on this particular topic, Todd. On the next one, what are the top 3 to 4 most important things that you really look for when choosing a new SaaS application?
All right. Well, okay. So I would say number one is that revenue potential, right? What is the compensation model that they provide? Commissions, stipends, that kind of thing. Sales help, like I mentioned before, any kind of training, collateral. I mean, they've, also, what is the services potential? What type of projects can we get? What can we expect? And what size, dollar-wise as well? Is it going to be hundreds? Is it going to be thousands or tens of thousands? Those types of projects. So, another important attribute, I think, is what is the stability and reliability of the platform or the application? And then one that we wrestled with years ago too is what's their potential for longevity? Because we've I'm going to use DabbleDB as a matter of fact. We've dabbled in different SaaS offerings, and only to find out as we dove deeper into what the product did and offered, and we invested a lot of time and effort. They were actually acquired, and we were told to move off the product. So that potential for longevity and make sure that they're in for the long haul is important too, as well. And then I think I'd say the fourth one is a partner program, and is it a true partner program, or that they just want to charge you as another account? We were told, by one particular SaaS vendor, you need to invest the X amount because we need to have skin in the game. And I don't know if that was necessarily the right way for us to approach it. And needless to say, we didn't go with that type of vendor. But I think those are my main important attributes, I'd say.
Great. And Bob?
I'm going to concur with Todd specifically on the due diligence that you have to do in order to know whether or not this company has longevity potential, and also whether or not the way they're hosting this is something that you can stand behind. It does us no good to partner up with a SaaS vendor if they're doing it out of their basement or their garage. And there's a lot of people that have great ideas out there, and they get the marketing side going, but when you dig into it, you find out that they're really lacking in terms of the business side of it. For me, the most important thing to start with is to find that SaaS application that solves a business problem. So I needed to solve a business problem. I needed to do it in a way that's easy for my clients to utilize. And so that's the first thing that I look at. What does it do, and how does it do it? A really important consideration right after that is, what kind of support can I expect from the SaaS vendor if and when we need it? And if I can't get top-tier support right out of the box, get a problem solved in short order, it's probably not going to be some company that I'm going to be able to work with. I think also, quite honestly, the revenue is important, but I would say it's probably down the line a little bit. because I want to know these people are in business, I want to know they're solving a problem, and I want to know that they can support my clients appropriately. And then right behind that is, what is it going to take to integrate this into my client's environment? Is it a solution that is easy to use, or is it highly complex? And if it's highly complex, is it still something that's appropriate to that particular client, or is it going to be tiered so that it's only going to be appropriate to certain clients but not others? And it's okay. Sometimes we find a solution that actually has different tiers within it, and it can be dialed up or dialed down based on what a particular client's needs might be. So that's another consideration. Is it something that can be adaptable, or is it so rigid that it's only going to be fixed in place for certain clients? And then probably the last thing I look for is a blue ocean, something that puts me into a competitive space where I can go in and make my competition irrelevant through this application.
Great, thanks. Thank you for that answer. So getting ready to get into a couple more specific questions here. So I just want to remind the audience that when you have questions, some people are already typing in questions. So please keep typing your questions in, and we will get to those. If you don't know how to do it, you can ask that question, but if you don't know how to do it, I don't know how you'll do that. But question number one, so getting into some more about your business and how you manage it and how you work it. And I'm going to start with Todd on this question, but with SaaS coming into the marketplace and lowering the cost, if you will, of the traditional box software model with all the hardware went with it and the services that you wrapped around it, Todd, how do you maximize your revenue and profits as a SaaS provider?
Well, we used to be all a very local, I'd say a locally based company. Our customers were all local. They weren't very big, and we started, like you said, as a boxed or traditional software. The customers didn't have a lot of money to spend necessarily, and we provided managed services. We installed agents and backup devices and software, and we would often spend all day on site, and then we would become, the resident tech therapist, so to speak. My connection's slow. Can you help me? My mouse is broke. Can you help me? So, it just wasn't very lucrative for us, but it was all that was really available. So it was a hard model for us to sustain. But with SaaS, we now work remote. So right away we save on time and expense, and it now has allowed us to focus on software. Like I mentioned, that's our background. That's where we really have come from. We diversified into managed services and that kind of thing. But again, software was where we wanted to be, and so now we can concentrate on a solution. And the various integrations and SaaS offerings that are available really help provide a full solution for the customer. So everybody wins. And obviously with the remote ability, and I've expanded my customer base to the world for the most part. And I now not only have I don't have to deal local anymore, and I don't have to deal small. I actually now have large enterprise customers as well, departments in large banks, that want to use SaaS to help, because they're not getting the IT support that they require. Those kind of things. Those have been very good customers of ours, actually. I run my own services and integrations with Amazon Web Services. So my costs for providing services and integration is very low. Is now very low for me. So I don't have a huge capital expenditures with using infrastructure as a service from Amazon.
Great. So really, as you got into SaaS and you got rid of a lot of the more labor-intensive pieces and the attention-type pieces, you could really also just focus on your business. You could focus on marketing. You could focus on working on your business and putting real-world solutions together that was really good for clients around the world that you now have.
Absolutely, yeah, and it helped us as a company focus in on something, and versus throwing a whole bunch of things at the wall and seeing what would stick. I mean, that really wasn't the right way to operate, but it's kind of the way we were operating, and like I said, software was our thing. So SaaS the SaaS platforms have really helped us to focus as well, and that's helped us be profitable as well, obviously. So.
Sure, great. And then Bob, you're more from the consulting side. How would you answer this question?
Actually, in my world, it has been incredible. We look at some of the people that complain about not being able to sell that boxed product when they set up a new computer and to make that margin right at the front end. But in effect, we're still doing the same thing. We're spreading that revenue out over a greater period of time. So I don't find that as being any kind of a problem in terms of maximizing revenue and profits. It's simply a time shift. But more importantly, what I find is that software as a service gives me more opportunities to have consultative discussions with my clients about things that can improve their workflow processes. So whereas before they had their line of business app, they have Office on their computer, and they're doing the same thing all the time. When I see something in the way of a SaaS offering that can help them with their workflow processes within their business, it gives me an opportunity to go in and have another discussion about it. It adds on to the value that we're already providing, and quite honestly, every time something shifts, like right now we're shifting from Office 2013 to Office 2016, there is the opportunity for new training. There is the opportunity to go in and say, well, you've been doing things this way in Office 2016. We can change that a little bit and increase your productivity. Let me show you how, or let me do it for you and implement it for you. So there's a lot of training, there's a lot of opportunity for discussion on workflow processes, and that's really where I start and stop. I make myself part of their business and do the things working in their business that they're not doing because they're not working on their business. It's the old E-Myth Revisited type of thing. So I'm the person who helps them to work on their business very quietly and silently, and SaaS actually has increased my opportunities to offer new things to my clients as a result.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. I would think in your line of business, as you're doing much more business consulting and overall arching view, there was probably a lot of things that are now available to you because they don't require all that hardware on site and an engineer to be able to do all that. It really kind of opens up things that you could bring into the business that you probably wouldn't even considered before.
That's right, without a question. And perhaps the best part for the client is there's no gigantic commitment up front to either infrastructure or out-of-pocket costs. It's metered out as they use it, which is absolutely phenomenal for them because it creates no barriers to entry.
Right. There's a really good question here from Eric that I think on this topic here that I do want to take here. So the question is, and you can both take a shot at answering this, do you sell any box software or you just avoid it altogether?
I wouldn't say I avoid it. There may be cases where we have to pick up a license to augment something else. So, for example, they may have a certain Office 365 license that does not include, let's say, Visio. Well, we might pick up, as economically as we can, a boxed license for Visio rather than stepping them up on an a monthly basis to a much more expensive version of Office 365. Again, I go back to what is the correct solution for the client. So I don't avoid anything. I try to maximize the result for the client and the outcomes that they get. So I'm neutral. Whether it's boxed or SaaS, I'll do whatever it takes to get the job done right.
Todd?
Yeah, and I think so. From our perspective, I think it's the opposite. We actually don't do any box solutions anymore because I think there's so much available, and we've been through the pains of that way back when. So I think we've kind of looking to the cloud now and the utility type model to plug into the right solution where we can, and that's how we run our whole business here as well. So everything is on the cloud, and Yep, we don't deal in the installation nightmares and the DLL hell and all that anymore.
Exactly. And that was kind of the follow-on question from Eric as well, is what if it's best for your clients? And what I'm hearing is, Bob, you don't care. Whatever's best for your clients. And Todd, I'm hearing that, hey, this is my business model, and this is how I do business, and I'm not going to get back into that, irregardless of what the situation is.
It's not a one-size-fit-all type of thing. It's dependent upon how you want to do business and how your clients do business. You can't shoehorn somebody into the solution, so you have to be a little bit flexible in my world. But there are many other people out there, like Todd himself said, who has a business model that says this is the way we work and this is what we do for you, and that's perfectly acceptable as well.
Yeah, it's just on how you present to the client, and you're managing their expectations. And I'm selling software as a service. I don't do anything else, and it's not a negative thing one way or the other. It's just how you do business.
Correct.
Exactly, and we want to arrive at that solution. Obviously, that's what we'll strive for. Make sure that the customer is taken care of and is happy. You're right. That's the first and foremost, right? Because Bob, you've been mentioning that all along, and you're absolutely correct. I mean, that is the key. To success.
I think that's why most of my clients have been with me a minimum of 15 years and some of them for 25.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, great. So we're going to move on to question 2. Again, if you have questions, audience, throw them in there. And just as I showed, if you're asking something that's very relevant to the topic at that time, I will ask that question. So feel free to ask your questions. And don't think there's no such thing as a stupid question except one that goes unanswered because you didn't ask it. So make sure if you're thinking it, there's someone else in the audience that's thinking it. So, proceeding from question 1 to question 2, what other opportunities do you see out there? And Bob, I'll start with you. Opportunities to leverage, as you're leveraging SaaS and you're selling more of it, what are those opportunities and leverage that it kind of gives you over your competition?
Interestingly enough, about a year ago, I did an assessment of all the tools that I use in my own business and came to the realization that 95% of the tools I use on a daily basis are hosted solutions. And I didn't really realize that I was a SaaS evangelist as much as I really was until I looked back and realized that I started recommending to my clients the hosted version of Rent Manager 5 years ago. And one of the big opportunities that gave me was to show my clients a couple of different things. The first was how they could work from wherever they were in their line of business app. And not saying that they should work while they're on vacation, but let's say they are on vacation and something came up. All they have to do is have an internet connection and a device like a notebook or a computer, and they could get into that app, help solve that problem with their staff back at the office, and carry on with their vacation. That was huge because then it showed that mobility gives them the opportunity to work wherever they are whenever they want to. The second big thing was it opened up huge discussions around business continuity. And we have had occasions where, because we have live archives of email, because we have Rent Manager available in the cloud, because we have VoIP phone systems in place, in the event of a physical problem at a building, like a fire or something, people can literally continue working from a different location and not miss a beat. So that is huge, the ability to have this wonderful conversation about how you're going to save these people's business in a time of crisis. Most of my competition doesn't talk about business continuity. That's something that's ingrained in the way I treat my customers, because if they're not in business, I've lost a client.
Exactly. And Todd, from your perspective?
Yeah, I'd say first, I now look and act like any of my other large competitors because I have the resources now to do that. Especially with Amazon Web Services, which is a key partner of ours. We utilize quite a few of their products and services, and has helped us, in many ways, and least of which is, and from a profitability perspective, I mean most of which. So, we've been able to, save costs tremendously. and you know, do all the things that we've always wanted to do and scale and that kind of thing. You know, so and I guess another thing that comes to mind is we're able to cover because we've adopted SaaS, we're able to cover a lot of ground in a day, and I keep going back to, you know, the remoteness and the world view, I guess, you know, because in the morning, you know, I could be with my customer in Chicago, working with him or her, at lunch, you know, with my customer in Florida, making sure that we take care of anything and working with them to make sure that their solution is in place, and then in the afternoon, you know, with my customer in San Diego, you know, and I never left the office. So, you know, that's a beauty of how things work for us with SaaS. You know, and then also the integration potential that is enormous. And you know, I can provide solutions for my customers, coupling in the best-of-breed offerings from many different providers. So, you know, that's how, you know, SaaS has really been, it's helped us.
Yes, kind of overall, it really, you know, for both of you, actually, it gives you a wealth of resources, not just from the cost of hardware and stuff, but the cost of engineering, the cost of having your own staff on there, where you can leverage, if you have the right SaaS vendors, you can leverage them, you can provide, and both of you have kind of gone, especially you, Todd, have gone upstream in the size of clients that you're doing. So really the competition that you had 5 years ago, 8 years ago, you have a new set of competition that you may be against, but you can act and feel like them and provide the same type of services and sell globally as well. So you're not just in a given region too. So really helps you with that competition piece while remaining profitable.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, way back when, I always looked at, you know, application service provider, and ASP was a term way back when, but you know,
exactly.
And I was always, you know, that was a goal. I was like, you know, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I know we're going to get there because I know that's the right place to be, but I don't, you know, and then eventually, you know, it evolved, and obviously that's where we are today. So
great. So on to the next question 3, you know, time is winding down here pretty quickly. So, Bob, I think we'll start with you. We started with Bob last time, so Todd, we'll go with you on this one. So, whenever you decide to pick up a new SaaS application, how do you market your offerings, and which clients' markets are really the most receptive to you? And it probably depends some on the SaaS that you're picking up, but maybe you want to talk a little about how you've marketed and picked up clients.
Sure. Well, we've been very fortunate to where the SaaS provider, you know, obviously Intuit, has allowed us to market with them on their site. You know, like I mentioned, they do provide us leads. We're able to work well with them as far as the sales guys are concerned as well, which is nice. The turnover is high, so it's challenging, and there are times when, you know, when we're really, you know, kicking it and we're moving along. And you know, and leads are coming and sales are happening, and then obviously there are times when we hear crickets. But you know, that's, yeah, everybody's challenge, obviously. But you know, so we also do email campaigns to let everybody know about us, and you know, we do them often, especially about our integrations and our add-ons. We have demos and videos on everything, and they're on our website. And at QuickBaseTools.com, we have a website, and everything is, you know, demo capable. We just believe it has to be that way, and videos. We have a help site. We try to do webinars whenever and wherever possible. I think it's huge for us. We also push the SaaS provider or the SaaS platform provider to have us listed on their blog, you know, and from time to time, you know, let us talk about a case study. Let us tell you about the client we worked with and how we provided a solution, and they're very receptive to that as well, which is nice. And we even asked the vendor to do email blasts to their whole customer base, you know, listing us, highlighting us, talking about our integrations and what we've done. You know, so and then the other part of the question, well, what clients are most receptive, and that's a good one. I mean, we've found that people who come, again, working with Intuit and being able to, for them to feed us some warm leads, that helps a tremendous amount. And so once they lock into the platform, and it is quite easy to lock into. It's a great platform. So once they get that look and feel, that it's often easy to close, and as long as they have some experience with the cloud, and that they want to change the way they do things. I mean, that's been very helpful. So
great. And Bob?
In my own Ranvest business, a lot of the marketing I do is really the consultation that we have with our clients on a regular basis. Larger clients will have a quarterly review. Smaller clients, it may be semi-annual or annual. But at those events, we talk about the roadmap for where they are and where they want to be and how we're going to achieve different things. Sometimes they have to plant the seed well in advance. A good example was a real estate firm in the Bay Area that about 3 years ago I discussed a hosted PBX solution that I sell, which is Freedom Voice. When the old Centrex system from AT&T was dumped recently, AT&T said, we have a new solution for you, and it literally tripled their phone bills per month. So based on that seed that I had planted 3 years earlier, the owner called me up and said, remember when we talked about that phone thing? I said, yes. He said, I want to talk about it right now. I said, okay, great. So we actually got him down to a price per month that was less than he was paying on the old Centrex system, and probably gave him a 20x uptick in functionality as a result of it. Some of these things take time in my world because you have to plant these seeds with the smaller businesses. But once you plant those seeds, in my Ranvest world, they start talking to their friends, and I often pick up referrals from people that they bragged about. Oh, we've got this new wonderful phone system. You ought to do this. And that's fine, because in many cases it opens doors for me to have business consultations with new clients that allow me to insert solutions into their business without also going to them and saying, I want to take over your full IT management, because I don't want to do that anymore. Now, on the partnership side that I have with LogicTree IT Solutions, in our mobile app platform, that's completely different. There we are introducing to very specific vertical markets the way for them to get mobile apps employed quickly and economically. So there we're doing all kinds of things. A lot of trade shows, a lot of presentations from the stage, and you know how shy I am once I get a microphone in my hand. We often do webinars, we often do white papers, so the marketing work that I'm doing there is very creative and very different from the consultative marketing that I do on the Ranvest side.
Great, thank you. And it's different on both businesses. I mean, you're a consultant in a consulting company, Bob, and so you do things a little bit different in sales, and you're not necessarily out there trying to get things globally necessarily. And Todd, you're out and you're able to pull in clients globally and always actively hunting and looking for new clients. So it's
exactly right. So the markets are diverse. Yeah, I mean, lately we've seen, it's interesting. Lately we've seen upticks in the solar market industry, construction, and even, like I mentioned before, the marketing departments of these large organizations where they need some support, and they're sort of the last on the list, I think, when it comes to an IT perspective.
Sure, excellent. So again, audience, go ahead and keep throwing your questions at us, and get to them as many as we can. We got just two questions here, and guys, I don't want to shorten up any of these. So if this one, we got two really good questions left, but if we take up a little bit too much time on this one, we'll just skip the last one. In consideration of everyone's time. So, what role does integration play when adopting SaaS, and what are the benefits and negatives on that? think, Bob, I think it's your turn to go first.
Okay. Well, for me, the integration really is how well does this particular SaaS solution support the other things that we're doing for our clients. I haven't yet had to actually do, and Todd's going to talk better to this point than I can. I haven't actually had any SaaS solutions that we have to use APIs to plug into other things. My SaaS solutions are more or less a contribution to the overall workflow process that is being accomplished for the client. They're complementary, but they don't necessarily have to be integrated in the strict sense of integration so that it's a plug-in piece that appears in something else. Todd, I know, has some other aspects of this, so I think he'll tell you about that part now.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Bob. So as far as I'm concerned, actually integration is a necessity nowadays in order to provide a full solution for the customer. As Bob mentioned, all you need to do is look around and see, you know, APIs are everywhere. They're connecting to others, and they're making it easy for the service to connect to them, you know, or people to connect to the service. So, you know, no one SaaS offering can do it all, as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, and I feel that this provides the best chance for solution providers and resellers. You know, like I said, because no SaaS offering is an island on its own, and you need integrations, and you need people who know the SaaS landscape to effectively be the customer's trusted advisor in these situations. So I see a huge potential for revenue for the reseller, you know, and that SaaS solution provider. You know, and the other thing too is that, you know, there's so many integrations becoming available. There's many ways to a solution, and I think that's also good for everyone involved.
Yeah, I think it is, especially when you're talking small to medium businesses that don't have IT staffs. They don't have a lot of time to spend on making sure the applications all work together, right? I mean, it's great, but you can download a CRM, you can download something like that. Any client can buy that directly, but do they really stick with it? I mean, the challenge is for them to make it work with their line of business application or integrate with their phone system, right? And that's why the small business, you know, solution providers out there own a small business, is you're able to do all those things for them and get that set up so it does support their business, and they can focus just on what they do on a daily basis and not trying to fix their IT, even though it's still SaaS. The SaaS provides them a lot of great benefits so that they can be more competitive with their larger competition out there, you know, from costs and bringing costs down and not having a lot of hardware. But at the end of the day, it all has to work seamlessly together in one solution.
Exactly.
Great. So what effect will utility computing have on consultants and IT service providers in the future? I mean, I think, you know, I'm glad that you brought it up, because I'm not the only guy that can remember when ASP first came out and your application as a service providers out there, which has kind of become the SaaS of what today is. So I'm not the only one dating myself on the call with that particular piece. But as it's really come in and where all this talk is about utility computing and what that means, maybe, Todd, you want to start on this a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
What's the landscape look like over the next couple of years?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it certainly has allowed us to grow big and fast. You know, using AWS.
Without growing your staff, by the way, I'm sorry to break you off, but without growing your staff.
Exactly. Right. And you know, and it's allowed us to scale and save. You know, on capital expenditures. You know, I pay for just for what I use, and that's great. You know, that's a true utility, right? So. It also provides me the reach that I've mentioned as well. You know, it gives me some sense of reliability and resiliency. You know, the provider that I use worries about redundancy and replication and that kind of thing, and I don't have to. So I sleep well from that perspective at night. You know, like I said, and you know, CapEx is down, allows me to save big dollars. And scalability allows me to scale. I mean, I'm constantly, you know, as we signing new customers, and I'm constantly, you know, turning the dial up on my environment, my infrastructure. But that's okay, because I can do it rather easily.
But if you had to, you could scale it down. You're not stuck with a big piece of equipment that you can't even carry out of the building.
Exactly, and I only pay for what I use. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Exactly, Bob. What's your view on the whole utility computing piece?
I'm gonna answer this question from the standpoint of change. Nicholas Carr wrote this wonderful book called The Big Switch, and that's where utility computing was first discussed in our world. And literally, that was 7 years ago. It has come upon us so fast that I think for IT service providers and consultants, they have to realize that doing business the way we used to do it 10, 15, 20 years ago is pretty much a dead end at this point. Utility computing allows us to provide a different way for our clients to get better ROI, to work wherever they need to, and to provide business continuity for them. So it changes the discussion from speeds and feeds and new infrastructure and site to how are we going to make you a better business? And as a result, those people who have been concentrating on hardware and software sales need to make a switch to becoming business technology consultants. And if they don't make that switch, then they may find that they're going to be out of business. And I go back to the motto of the Barehanded Wolf Choker and Pterodactyl Breeders Association, which is adapt or perish. And there are going to be brethren of mine that will perish if they don't make this pivot and understand that the way we do business is changing. Utility computing is the present and the future, and we need to adapt to that.
Yeah, I think you're very right on that. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been stubborn or they're just confused or don't know quite what to do, and that's, of course, why we're here with the Partner Perspectives, to help everyone get some more understanding of this piece. But it's just moving your company forward. As you said, everything's evolving. The way that people buy software today is evolving, and I think it's a great opportunity for consultants and whether you're a managed service provider, whatever you are out there in the world today, to truly manage services. When it came out in the marketplace, Todd, and Bob, you were somewhat involved in that. The idea was to be the CIO of the company, of your client, and I think that only became true to a certain point. And I don't think it ever truly came to fruition in that business model. And I think the whole utility computing and SaaS has changed the nature of your relationship with your client, that you truly are that guy now. And
it was funny, Clinton, because a lot of the managed service provider platforms were saying things that encourage their new partners to say to their clients, you work on your business and we'll work on your computers. We don't really work on computers much anymore. That whole concept went away, and managed services is not a dead end at this point, but it is, in my opinion, a dying business form, because there's very little that we need on site to get people connected to their real business resources now in a utility computing model.
Yeah, I think that whole thing. I just think you become. I don't think managed services necessarily goes away. It just morphs, and you're doing a lot of vendor management, and you're being the true CIO. You're really working with the customer to help them grow their business with that vision on what the IT is needed to be put in place to support their business growth and their business ideas.
Yeah, it's not about the technology so much as it is about the business outcomes.
Exactly. So moving on there, so we're coming to question and answer. I got a couple questions here that I want to ask, and then I got a couple little other housekeeping things to tie up, and then if we have time, I'll come back to a couple other questions. So another question here is, how much support and FAQs do you rely on from the vendor? And this came about, I think, when we were talking more about marketing your services and marketing on those types of pieces. So how much do you rely on your vendor to provide you a lot of at least the initial language in taking their products to market?
For me, I would have to say not much. It's mostly important for me to understand what the solution is and how it works before I can go to a client and say, this is something that's going to solve a problem for you. It's good to help me become familiar with their product, but like anything else, I believe we have to eat our own dog food. So I need to work the solution in my own shop here in order to know whether or not I'm going to go to market with it. So, but it is good to know that they have resources there that will help me learn the solution, and then from there I can explain it to my client.
Yeah, I agree, Bob. I mean, we want to become the expert in that platform and make sure that we understand the ins and outs, right? We do rely on our SaaS partner to a certain degree for some of the flashy, salesy stuff because we're terrible at that kind of thing, and they do that for us, which is nice. The videos and that kind of thing. I mean, so that's been great. But like you said, we really want to make sure that we know the product in and out. And there are support. There is support, which is great. Again, with the platform we use, but we don't necessarily ever really have to rely on them too much because we want to make sure that we know, how to answer the questions.
Yeah, I think what really comes down to is, the channel to get into the SMB space isn't an evil necessity. You're part of the sales department, if you will, the sales and marketing department for that SaaS vendor, and they should treat you like they do their employees. Right. And how they, you're not asking for a salary, you're not asking for benefits, you're just asking for, to maybe be able to make a decent living off of what they're doing. Well, you help them make a good living on what they're doing. So they need to provide you the same materials as they would in training to get up on the product, whether it's some free software to work in, along with training on the product, and spend that time to help you engage with your client to get moving forward.
Yeah, that's right.
That's an interesting perspective. Sorry, Bob. I was just saying, Clint, I think that's an interesting perspective. I don't think the industry is quite there yet, but you're right. I mean, that is certainly pie in the sky. I think that's where we need to go and where we need to be and where, the providers need to understand. But there's some work to be done, I think, on that front.
Yeah, and we are basically an extension of their sales efforts. We are the evangelists and we are the disciples that go forth and spread their message to the people that we want to engage with on their behalf. So, yeah, very important that we have that information from them.
It's a true business relationship, is what it comes down to, and everyone needs to share in that enjoyment of the fruits of that, because if you don't, it just isn't there. I mean, you'll find someone else, and most SaaS companies, most companies will not sell well or sell much into the small businesses without a good channel to take them there, just because of what we talked about in the integration piece.
Right.
So the next session, I'm going to go through a couple other items here. I don't think we'll have time for any more questions, so we're getting ready to tie up here, but our next session is on November 20th, and I've got a guy I met here recently that I really loved my conversation with him, and he really struck me great, and he agreed to do this next month with us. The partner perspective is Preston from JCD&I, a leading cloud brokerage services firm, and it's all he does, and one of the new cloud service providers in the marketplace out there, if you will. And I'm very excited about having him next month and discussing his business and how he chooses products and takes things to market. So I'm very, very excited to have him on next month as well. So watch for the invites; those will be coming out soon on that particular event. I want to thank everyone for coming here today and talking with us. I really want to again thank Bob, and I want to thank Todd for coming. I also want to thank Dina Moskowitz, our CEO, who's been listening in here for inventing this idea and coming out with SaaSMAX so that we're all here and building a great community of solution providers and vendors coming together to really take the SaaS and make SaaS the real fruition of what the ASP model aspired to be and really bringing utility computing to the front. So thank you, everyone, for your time today. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me here. If you want to become a partner, go up to SaaSMAX, sign up. Bob, Todd, thank you very much today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.